Biggly Piggly Wiggly on Spring Street has served 3 generations of shoppers since 1955 as the largest locally owned independent grocery store in the area. The Joseph family owners grew up here, so you know they're invested in the community. They provide the biggest variety of choice meats, the freshest produce, an in-house deli bakery, great wine selection, and more of your favorite brands. Every purchase gives you gasoline points so you can save at our pumps. Order online for pickup at bigglypigglywiggly.com. Biggly Piggly Wiggly on Spring Street. No one beats the pig.
The opinions expressed on Scoop Squad Truth Pod are those of the hosts and the guests and not those of WVRC Media. Scoop Squad Truth Pod, copyright 2024. Scoop Squad Truth Squad, LLC.
Welcome to the Scoop Squad Truth Pod, and I'm your host, Ashley Switzer. And I've got a studio full of guests. We are coming to you from Charleston, West Virginia. And the Scoop Squad Truth Pod is a podcast that advocates for transparency and accountability in government. And this podcast is focused, we're hyper-local, focused on local city, county politics, as well as surrounding counties in West Virginia. And sometimes when you're advocating for accountability and transparency, you stumble across things that aren't so nice. You stumble across corruption. There's just many layers, I think. When you want to hold government accountable, when you start asking questions, when you start digging, sometimes it leads you, I think, places that it's discouraging, but I will say that if you press on and you don't back down and you keep digging and you keep asking the hard questions, things happen. And something happened on Sunday that really kind of re-energized me and, made me say to myself that this whole journey that I've been on for the last 2 years with this podcast is worthwhile and it's worth doing. And so let me just tell you how the podcast is going to go tonight. We have Sue Barazzi in our studio along with Morgan Fowler, and I'm going to let them tell you why they're here in just a minute. But we're going to kind of dig into their story. They and their friends were at a city council meeting last week. And I myself was there as well. We did a live stream. I'm sure many of you saw it. There's been a lot of talk about it, a lot of social media posts and so forth. It was again, it was one of those moments where I was, wow, I can't believe I was a part of that. And so I asked them to come on and share their story. I've also got Elisa Payne in the room with me. She's not only one of our contributors, but also a sponsor of ours. She owns Eggplant on Bridge Road, and I love that store. Yeah, look at Miss Sue; her mouth is dropped. Yeah, we love that store. But she's I don't know if you know Miss Sue, but Elisa is just really boots on the ground. She is out at every meeting that she can go to. She's not only a mom and a business owner and a wife, but she goes to Kanawha County School Board meetings. She goes to city council meetings.
My kind of woman.
Yes, and that's what it takes to hold your government accountable. So she's going to pop in with some questions because she was there that night. And then after we dig into your all's story and we feel like we've done it justice, we're going to move. We've got some updates on VOAD, West Virginia VOAD, voluntary organizations active in disasters. Tons of stuff has happened in a short period of time, and we're going to bring you up to speed on that. I also, at the end of the podcast, want to talk about a little bit about a story about a little baby in Jackson County that's fighting for her life right now in Morgantown. Dreadful, dreadful story.
Absolutely.
But first, Sue and Morgan, welcome to the Scoop Squad Truth Pod. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for asking us to come.
Oh, you're very welcome. Yeah, absolutely. So, Morgan, I told you when I called you last week, you and I spoke, that I really I feel like last council meeting, was it last Wednesday?
Yes.
Was just a culmination of a lot of things that people don't know about. There was a lot of emotion in that room, and I wanted to give the listeners the backstory. I need the backstory, but I really want the backstory from Miss Sue and Morgan Fowler. First of all, tell me is there an organization? Is this an organized effort, Ms. Sue? How about you go first?
Well, it is an organized effort in a sense because I'm the vice president of the Islamic Association of West Virginia.
Okay.
And I'm the one who organized the rally right after the October 7 so-called war. People call it war. War normally is a definition between two equal powers. We need to make sure we understand while what Hamas did is a horrible thing. But these two, the Israeli government supported by United States and everybody else in the world, is not of equal power to the Palestinian or the Hamas movement. And we also need to understand that, yes, it's horrific what they've done. But we got to know that this pressure cooker that's been cooking for 75 years of oppression, apartheid, and control over what's happening in Palestine, Gaza. And we got to also understand that 2.2 or 2.3 of the population in Gaza is a combination of not just Gazan, but all the people in Palestine who migrated or forced evacuation into Gaza. So we sort of took their land, the indigenous land, 1948, and we got to understand the history before we can say, Hamas, you're horrible people, why did you kill that? Okay? Nobody is condoning what Hamas did. None of us wants any violence. None of us wants any killing. None of us wants any murder. But in order for us to understand the whole scoop of what happened, we got to look at the history. We got to look at the oppression. The United Nations called it open prison, Gaza. They've been in a controlled, 14 to 24 kilometer space, very small space. I'm not good with remembering numbers. And they've been monitored daily, watched, not able to go to school, not able to do anything without the Israeli and the IDF control over them. They can even look and see into their homes. They can't enter, they can't work, they can't do this, they can't do that without the Israeli government giving them okay to do it and not monitoring them, not kidnapping their kids, not killing their wives, husbands. There's nothing off the table. Only now, after this, the world is actually seeing what atrocity, what's happening to Palestinian people for the past 75 years. So when we talk about Hamas, we got to understand the whole story in order for us to put it in good perspective. Now, we in the community have a lot of members who are Palestinian. We all see the suffering. We have one member of our community who lost 100% of their families. That is the whole family wiped out, except for those who fled to America and everywhere, all over the world, okay? We all have people who have a relation in Gaza. We, as people in this masjid, we represent about, 40 countries? We know what the situation has been. We know how pressured they are. We know how controlled they were. We know oppression. We know the atrocity. We know that the Palestinian kids get kidnapped and put in jails for years and years and years. We know the torture. We know all of that. But now, this October the 7th, it actually brought to life everything that's happening back since 1948. So we did a rally at the state capitol. We had over 300 people come out. I organized the rally. All of our...
what date was that? This is Ron, by the way.
Yeah, hi, Ron. I don't really remember. Do you, Morgan?
It all runs together.
It was after October.
Yes, after October the 7th.
Before the city council meeting.
Way before the city council meeting.
Still kind of warm outside.
Yes. So we did a rally. We invited interfaith group to speak. We had several speakers. We did a sort of like a candlelight visual. None of us expected this war, the so-called war, to continue to last as long as it has been so far. So, and as we seeing the number of killed, now you have to remember, 80% of the population that lives in Gaza are under 18. So you're talking about children. You're talking about women mostly. Why? Because all the men been either killed, arrested, or whatever happened to them. Okay? So as we continue to observe and see the killing and continue to see the demolition of all the building, the town, it's like mowing down the entire city of its people in the name of I have to defend myself. Yes, Israel has the right to defend itself, but who are you defending yourself against? Children? Are you defending yourself against women who are not armed? United States, just the last shipment, they paid $80 million with the best equipment, the best missiles, the best of everything, sent in my taxpayer, my taxes, your taxes, to kill all these children. The mother are having to write the names of the children on each limb, so when they get blown up, they can identify, oh, that belongs to my daughter. That's her hand, and that's her left hand, and so on and so forth.
In fact, they did that by executive order. They actually didn't even go through the congressional delegation.
No, they bypassed.
Yeah.
They bypassed the congressional approval and sent the money to Israel. And this is not the first shipment. It continues without any hesitant. And the thing that hurts us the most when we see President Biden going and say we need a humanitarian pause. What does that mean, Mr. Biden? You want to pause the killing, which they never did actually. Okay? Ceasefire never happened. So we can let some food trucks into Gaza. Okay, let's feed them. Turn around 5 days later and kill the heck out of them. Blow them up to smithereens. That's what they've done. And the thing is, as I'm driving here, I heard a report from NPR talking about Dr. Jibili, Sima Jibili, who was in Gaza. They're targeting one hospital at a time. Now, in a normal, typical war, we say this city was taken, that city was taken. Here in this situation, we are controlling one hospital at a time. We're saying there are tunnels under the hospital. That's where the Hamas people are hiding. Do you have a proof of that? So far, we have not seen any.
I was going to ask you, do you have eyes on the ground over there? Do you have people that you talk to that have firsthand information?
Yes, we are getting all that firsthand information through families.
Okay.
Because remember, they cut off electricity, they cut off internet, they cut off water, they cut off gas, and they said we're going to do that. So we're going to make you suffer even more while we're bombing the heck out of you. Okay. So yes, there are still ways, and they were what's his name, Twitter guy, he let his Elon Musk, he let the Twitter continue, and that's how we were able to. Actually, this whole war was not one, but it was the information spread through TikTok.
Yeah.
Because everything we post on Facebook, I personally suffered through that. I'm sure Morgan have, gets deleted, gets blocked, gets changed, censored.
But not.
Well, we know about that.
But not TikTok.
How about Twitter?
Not Twitter, some of it.
Twitter, a little bit. It's not as bad as the others, but yeah, I mean, like I have other people that I work with that are running for office that are speaking outwardly about Palestine, and they get shadow banned.
Elisa Payne has been permanently blocked from Twitter.
Yeah.
Banned. She's permanently banned.
Yeah, they're censoring to control what's coming in and out of the media.
Let's kind of move forward to how we got started with you coming to Charleston City Council. How did all of that come together? How were you invited?
Well, I was invited. Joe Solomon, council member Joe Solomon. I knew him
yes.
for a long time. He and I worked together. He proposed a coffee time with Morgan, which that we can discuss how we can approach the situation with the city council. You have to understand, he sees that he is a Jew. He's a grandson of a Holocaust survivor, okay? So he sees that a lot of cities across the country are asking for ceasefire. The American conscience has been awakened, because I get a lot of messages says, when is enough is enough? When are you going to stop? When is defending yourself is going to go and who are you defending yourself against? So Joe Solomon is one of those people. He sent me a text message maybe 3-4 weeks ago, and he said, we need to talk. And so we met and we talked and we organized, and we figured, okay, let's see if Charleston, by God, West Virginia, let's be known for something that we can do humanitarian. Let's be known for something positive. Let's let the world's conscience wake up. Let's West Virginia speak up.
At that point, when you had that discussion with Joe, did you, in the back of your mind, think that you would have support from the mayor?
No. Yes, I actually did. I actually did. This community has been supportive of Mayor Amy Goodwin since before her second election. And I'm extremely disappointed in the mayor because she had told me repeatedly, I'm the one who brought her in to be connecting to the whole community, okay? And we welcomed her in repeatedly, and we did a lot of stuff for her. And she had repeatedly said to me, if your community needs anything, all you have to do is text me. We're law-abiding. 80% of our members are physicians. You cannot have any health care in this area without these physicians. And so we never had any problem. And we never had to ask her for anything.
Now, when you met with Joe, was that before or after the op-ed when the contact was made?
Before. We met with Joe before.
Before the letter was sent out? Is that the one you're talking about? Okay.
Yes, because the idea of proposing a resolution for ceasefire resolution, permanent resolution, ceasefire, she had gotten the note of it because he sent an email, and I'm CC'd on every single email to every single council member. And then he sent it to her, and he CC'd me as well. When they came up with that letter, that means her and whoever else is helping her, because the words used by her are copy words used by my friend, actually, Rabbi Victor Urecki, which says ceasefire is divisive. I don't understand how stopping bloodshed could be divisive. He says,
is that Rabbi Urecki's position that a ceasefire is divisive? Okay.
Yeah, he actually finally came out with a statement to Channel 13 after my last interview saying that ceasefire is divisive. And I have yet to face him and say to him, a man of faith, how do you stand seeing all the bloodshed going on, the violence, the extent of the children getting killed, over 9,100 child's been dead, and you can really say it's divisive. Yeah, it's not dividing us. The community all came together for this.
I want to bring Morgan on because, Morgan, you and I have talked, and you talked extensively about the relationship that this community had with Mayor Goodwin, and it was a trusting relationship. You've said, Ms. Sue, that she came to you for help getting elected. Tell me how you guys helped her in the last two elections, mayoral elections.
Well, I mean, I know Sue brought her into the mosque. She met the community multiple times.
Yeah, there you go.
If I'm not mistaken, they held multiple fundraisers on her behalf to help her, and she made a promise to them that she would stand with them and be with us. And then the second that we called her to be with us, we get no response.
So Sue, she just stopped responding to your text.
She stopped responding to my text.
And so when did you first text her?
Well, I first texted her. We got a letter from, I first texted her when she lit up the bridge, first week of after October the 7th. She had I forgot what the name of that bridge. The Elk River Bridge,
right.
Thank you, with the blue. And that's fine, I respect that. So I sent her a message. I said, that's great, you're showing your support to the Jewish community. Now, let's see how you're going to show your support to the Muslim community, okay? People need to understand, Muslims are not the only one getting killed in Gaza. There are Christians. Jesus came from there. Please know that. Remember that. Jews are also Palestinian, and they're getting killed there. So we're not just talking. It's not a Jewish issue and a Muslim issue. It's not this or that.
It's a human issue.
It's a human issue at this point. Thank you, Morgan. So then she never responded back to me on that one. Then we got a letter from CARE. I forgot what it stands for. Anyway, it's an organization in Washington, D.C. that says police and FBI's are harassing people around the country.
It's a Muslim organization?
Yes, it's a Muslim organization. The people are harassing, police and FBI agents are harassing people and even arresting them if they see somebody wearing a kufiya, which is the flag for the identification for Palestine and the Palestinian flag. So I took that same letter, I sent it to Amy Goodwin, Mayor Amy Goodwin. I said to her, I hope to God your police will not do this to my community. She said, she did respond. She says, absolutely not. And I will check with my chief of police to make sure this is not happening here in Charleston, which I, of course, appreciated that. I did the same thing with the FBI. But what did the FBI do? They called me and said, we want to meet with you. They did come to the masjid. They did meet with a representative. I arranged that meeting. And their interest is, we're here to support you. If anybody harasses you, if anybody does something to the mosque, we are here to protect you. If you have had any incident, let us know. We did. So then Attorney General for the Southern District, Will Thompson did the same thing. He's called me on my cell phone and says, I want you to know I'm here to protect the community. And as a matter of fact, here's my cell phone. I want to make sure you have it. And I want you to text me, call me day or night.
And you felt like you had a good enough relationship with Mayor Goodwin.
Absolutely.
That the same type of communication should have happened.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I expected her to come to me or to my community.
Because she came to you for help many times.
She came to me personally. She sent her sister, Karen, to me the second time. We, as Morgan said, I'm the one who arranged for fundraising, arranged for her to meet the community, invited her to Ramadan. Actually, her kids are close friends with some.
Does she sit on a board? I feel like I've got that news somewhere that Amy sits on an Islamic board or a Muslim board.
No,
okay, not that you know.
Not that I'm aware
okay.
of. No.
Morgan's thinking.
Not about the board, just that like after we did send, we did come to council before we introduced the resolution, and
That was on the 18th?
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
think I was at that meeting. Tell me about that meeting.
No.
so we had 5 speakers in the same kind of manner that we had them the
Did you
second
get 90
time.
seconds?
No, we got more time.
Okay.
And everybody was really respectful. It felt like everybody was attentive. It actually felt like we might get a result out of this.
Well, she came in. As she came in, she hugged and kissed all of us.
And that was on the
Especially me
18th.
and
That was on the
Sue.
18th.
Yes.
I don't know what happened
Yes,
from
sir.
the
She
18th,
approached you,
but-
Miss Sue, and gave you a hug and kiss.
Yes.
At 18th. Okay.
As a matter of fact, one of the speakers, Shahid Al-Assadi, she came and talked about how wonderful the Al-Assadi family was, who are Palestinian, when she came into the room that night on the 18th. Wonderful family, hugged everybody, spoke to everybody, and it was nice.
And what were you guys asking on the 18th?
It was more, we kind of just brought the people that were directly affected, let them speak to tell them what we were experiencing and that we wanted a ceasefire, kind of to let it resonate and prepare to introduce the resolution.
Okay.
And so in the next following weeks, we drafted the resolution. Joe sent it to everybody.
I was going to say, who were the sponsors of that original resolution? Do you remember?
Well, we had a Republican colleague of Joe Solomon's that was willing to sponsor the resolution until the letter was written.
Yes.
We had several people that were willing to be sponsors, and I don't remember them all by name. And then the letter was written, and they were like, "Oh, this is enough."
Okay, so you guys wanted a resolution. You had some sponsorship on council. You had support for that resolution. You felt that 18th meeting went pretty well and people were receptive. And then all of a sudden on a Sunday or whenever it was,
Right before Christmas.
right before Christmas, appears this letter from the city of Charleston and Mayor Goodwin.
Speaking on behalf of the Jewish voice and the Muslim voice.
And that's what I heard. That's what I heard from you. That's where I felt like the anger was coming from.
Yes,
that
I am.
night.
Yeah,
Yes.
because you signed off on a letter and you said,
Without
on
even-
behalf of the Muslim community, but on behalf of whom? Because you didn't
Like-
talk to us.
and
Actually, we
that's-
tried to meet with you, and you wouldn't meet with us.
Right. And so, Sue, I feel like maybe, if she had such a close relationship that she would have called and said, hey, I'm thinking about a letter. Let's sit down and draft a letter. how would you have responded to that if she had called you in advance and said, let's work on, I'm not sure about a resolution. What are your thoughts about?
And we offered that chance for her to talk, and that would have been wonderful. That's part of my anger and hurt, to be honest with you, because you go ahead and use my name as a Muslim, knowing that we are in direct relationship with you. However, you don't have enough respect to this whole community, and me especially, to say to us, okay, let's talk about it.
So after the letter
I felt
was
like
written,
a stab in the back behind our back.
so
That's what
after
it
the letter was written, people signed it and was like, that should be enough. I'm not going to support the resolution.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the crazy thing was, before the letter began to circulate, we kind of got word that the letter circulated.
Sure.
So we organized efforts to have people call the mayor's office and say, hey, we don't want a letter. This is not enough. People called, blew up the mayor's office's phone. You know what they told us? We don't know anything about a letter.
Yes.
2 days later, the letter comes out.
Exactly.
Who received the letter? Who were they sending the letter to?
They were sending it to the congressional delegation.
So our two
Joe
Congress
Manchin.
people and our two senators.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Wow.
But so Morgan is right, because
Yes.
we tried. We had the entire community move to call, and we called, and everybody who answered, I personally called. I personally spoke as well. And
Yeah,
and
I'm sorry. There's nothing worse than being ignored. I mean, and lied to.
And
lied to.
And then ignored.
lied to.
Yeah.
To me, it was like a political maneuvering that she did behind our back, and that is, to me, it felt like a stab in the back to this Muslim community.
Well, and plus, city council members signed this letter.
And
as well,
there
right?
are 20 city council members who signed it. I've know a lot of them personally. I know Sean Taylor, I know Emmett Pepper, I know Jennifer Farr, Caitlin Cook. I know a lot of them. And we talked to them, and we offered, with the email, an opportunity to sit down and discuss it. We actually offered that more than once. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
If there are some words in the resolution, which we did remove the word genocide from it, if there are any words that's giving you heartburn, okay, we'll use different words, whatever you think.
We offered to come to the table, but
Yes, but they didn't.
And
you
that
wrote a
didn't
letter
happen in
and-
2 days.
Didn't
No.
happen in actually before Christmas until the second day. It did not happen. No, ma'am.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and when they wrote the letter, we offered and extended the courtesy to you to edit our resolution. You didn't send the letter to us and say, hey, is this okay?
Yeah.
Does this sound okay? When we're speaking on behalf of the people that you came to council and told us you were hurt, and then we wrote a letter on behalf of people that you didn't even speak to.
And what was hurtful is for the council president to speak of the letter, saying we did do something and we thought it was enough. Madam, you speaking on behalf of whom? Of a community that you had no respect for? Not even an ounce of respect to consult with? Come on, give us a break,
Well,
man.
unfortunately, you're not the first group, like I said, to experience this. And I think we were talking before the show. It's, in 5-6 years of watching this administration, that's pretty much how it goes. If you've got a problem or a concern, you just don't get anywhere. I mean, because I've seen her at council, and I want to get back to that night because it was intense.
Yes, ma'am.
But I will say that I never ever felt like it was going to escalate into violence. Never.
We will
not
never.
for 1 second.
No, ma'am.
We are
will
peaceful
never.
people.
Yes.
I really did not, and I feel like I'm a pretty intuitive person. I
No.
think I would have, my
It
radar would have gone
never,
off.
as you saw the police standing relaxed.
Yes.
Chief Dempsey came to me
Yes.
at the very beginning, and I assured him, we are not violent community. We will never raise to that level. We
Yeah.
will never rise. Number one. Number
You're
two.
educated people.
I mean, you're talking about educated people. You're talking about peaceful people.
Professionals.
We are all professionals. I assured him, and the guys were standing there. I said, let them vent. I personally came to him in his face and I said, let them vent. These are young folks and they're very upset. I was upset. People were worried about me having heart attack. My face was so bad.
Yeah.
And I said, let them vent. And when they sat, I asked him to let them sit. Now, they threatened with arrest, which none of us have ever been arrested because we don't commit any violent act. And I assured him, just let them sit a little bit, okay?
Yeah.
Then I told everybody, let's go. We made our point.
Yes, you
we
did.
leave on our terms.
I got that on camera. I was right there. Can we take a break real quick?
Yes,
and
ma'am.
we'll
Sure.
come right back and
Sure.
we'll get in more. I want to get in more to that, more of what happened that evening and then what's coming next, if that's okay. So we'll be right back with the second scoop.
The Scoop Squad Truth Pod would like to thank our sponsors. Those include Chris Walters at Integrity Insurance, featuring auto, home, life, business, workers' compensation, and pet insurance. Pet insurance, you say? That's health insurance for your dogs or cats that covers special foods, illnesses, surgeries, and medication. They're on 16 Capitol Street in Charleston at 346-9181, or reach them at www.iigwv.com. Also by Jody's Mobile Services, offering steam cleaning, pressure washing, fleet washing, and auto detailing. We come to you. They're at 304-437-3164. And also by Eggplant on Bridge Road. Anything but ordinary. Go to eggplantshop.com. Also by T Graphics on the west side, 312 Buchanan Street, 345-4816. Go to tgraphics.com for screen printing and embroidery since 1984. Again at 345-4816.
And welcome back to the second scoop of the Scoop Squad Truth Pod. We are here with Sue Barazi, president of the Islamic Vice President of the Islamic Association, and Morgan Fowler. You don't have a title, do you, Morgan?
I'm just organizer of chaos.
You are a
Peaceful.
That's right.
I'm an activist.
Okay, I see.
Peaceful activist.
Very.
And I appreciate this conversation.
Thank you.
I mean, I
appreciate
just
it,
really, really appreciate you all coming in. But I said before the break that night at City Council, as intense as it got, I never felt like there was there was ever going to be a propensity for violence at all.
Well, we didn't come here to ask you to stop the violence, to start
Exactly.
more violence.
Right.
That sort of defeats
That
the
doesn't make
purpose.
sense.
Right.
Yes.
But I wasn't the one being targeted. I will say, I wasn't. That would be a little disconcerting. But at the same time, I can probably say that I would never not give someone the courtesy, especially a friend, someone that I thought was a friend, of a text back or of a meeting when they ask, especially someone who has helped me raise thousands of dollars to get reelected. I just don't understand.
I think that's the part that hurts me the most personally, and actually it hurts a lot of members of the community.
Sure.
I'm an activist. I'm a retired assistant area director with Federal OSHA, so I know the laws.
Yeah.
I have spent 29 years being drilled with the laws and the chain of commands and everything. So these people rely on my recommendations a lot of times in my
Yes.
community.
And they trusted you.
And they trusted
and
me.
you trusted her.
And I trusted her.
Yeah.
And so and you have to understand, our community comes from various countries where they
Sure.
have no freedom to speak about the
Right.
government and what's going on. So here we are trying to encourage them to have a voice. We, the people, when they all became U.S. citizens and took the oath, we, the people, that means we, the people, have the right to speak. Now, when we're trying to encourage a few hundred people in the community to stand up and speak, and you shoot them down, don't give them an opportunity to speak, then where is the freedom of speech? Where is our First Amendment? Where is our right? Everybody now is coming to me and saying, why should I vote? Why should I speak? She never listened to us. So she's defeated. This is a lot more than just a symbolic ceasefire. It's a message that we wanted to send from Charleston, asking to stop the violence, stop the killing. We're not asking for anything.
And I will say Joe Solomon's speech was very good
moving.
about
Very
saying
touching.
that. And I also want to say, when you say we the people, the government works for we the people.
Absolutely.
Let's remember that. And when you remember that when you go to vote, who do you want working for you?
Absolutely.
And now all these people have been revealed. All their votes are on video.
Exactly.
We know exactly who they are.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, well, I'm a relentless force to be reckoned with. So
You are
I-
you
I-
are small but fierce.
I fully intend on hoping that anybody who kind of infringed on that right won't sit there again when they're up for re-election.
I think we all will. I think we opened up the hearts of our community. We taught them they have the right to speak now. Their voice does matter because we've been telling them for years your voice matter. We taught the young folks in our community, you got to participate, you got to get involved.
Especially now. Like now that
Especially
this has
now.
happened and you know how this works.
And it's not just your community.
No, ma'am.
You are waking up other people that live in the Charleston
Well, I
city.
got a text yesterday from a woman that I have never met in Fayette County telling me she is doing a Gaza hike in Fayette County. My God, I'm going to drive to Fayette County just to meet this beautiful woman. So, yes, ma'am, we didn't only wake up the conscience of just the Charleston community. I think we made the difference in around the state of West Virginia have a beautiful people.
And just to remind everyone, this isn't about picking sides.
No, ma'am.
This is about peace. The resolution was about peace.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
mean-
it condemned acts on both sides. It asked for
Yes.
stop the killing on both sides. Like
Yes.
it wasn't a divisive resolution. We took all of their input, put it back into the resolution, and then just to say, you know what, we're not going to vote on this while people are dying.
So since that city council meeting and that would have been last week for our listeners, have you heard anything good or bad? Have you felt threatened, or have they reached out on Olive Branch somehow?
Well, they personally haven't. I felt a little defeated the next day, but we live to fight another day. And so my Facebook Messenger has not stopped dinging since then. I've got people from Lincoln County, like, you don't understand where these people are coming from. They're coming from places you would never imagine that this issue would matter to somebody. So I've got like 2 people from Lincoln County that are like, what can we do? I've got a lady from Lewisburg. What can we do? I've got a lady from Huntington organizing people up there. And so whether we got the result that we wanted here, and we're not done yet. Whether we got the result that we wanted here, it's reverberating through the whole state.
So you haven't had any negative. Anybody?
Actually, none. Actually, I'm in the
and
same
that's,
way.
that technically
I'm shocked.
It's a
surprises
win.
me.
I'm
Yeah,
shocked.
it
It's a win.
surprises me that you haven't had any kind of retribution.
No,
or
and
any-
I get on TV. I'm the one who gets, and she
Right,
got on
you're the
TV, but
face.
I'm the face, and
Yeah.
no.
So you haven't had any negative.
No. On the contrary,
and I'm
exactly what
pleasantly
Morgan.
surprised.
Well,
Yes, sir.
I will say that reports have surfaced that Amy Goodwin is fearful. I mean,
Yes.
I don't know if.
And she closed her Facebook account.
Yeah, she closed down her
That-
Facebook.
that
Can
is
you
true.
speak on that?
Yeah, I mean, she has. She's reached out or told some other members of the press that she feels threatened. She has extra security.
By whom?
And that
Well, that's what we don't know.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. We don't want anybody to be harmed.
And I don't know where it might be coming from. And it's obviously not coming from your
Absolutely
organization.
not.
Nobody
Well,
from
I-
the Muslim community.
And I have to
Absolutely
say,
not.
I did speak with someone who's former military, and they have said you don't ever put that out there. If you are a public figure and you are being threatened, you don't
Say it.
publicize that. You
No.
don't say that because that can then
So is that
feed
true or
the
not true?
Exactly. That's the question.
Well, and here's the thing. If you feel threatened and you're hiring extra security because you feel threatened by threats, imagine how the kids with bombs dropping over their head feel every night. And you didn't feel like that was important enough to take action.
Well, and they also she feels threatened even by me apparently because they kicked media out of the gallery.
Yes,
Their
they
media
did.
can no longer sit in the gallery of
Yes.
City Council where they've sat since the beginning of time
Yes.
because they're afraid of me.
You're a little 5'2", 100-pound,
So,
little Nancy Drew over here. They're afraid she'll stab somebody in the neck with a.
They literally said that.
Oh my God.
They said that on council floor, afraid that I would stab somebody in the neck with a pen. Jennifer Farr said that.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that's why the media is no longer in the gallery, or we're back in the gallery with the public.
So the war on media really started in 2016, and it doesn't seem to be stopping.
Nope.
Because when first October 7 happened, 3 journalists from MSNBC, because they spoke their heart out, they were dismissed. And now
Yeah.
they're coming back, and we have seen this happening. The pressure and the propaganda that it happens forced the president Pence to resign, forced the second president to resign. We have known a lot of our physicians throughout the country. Suddenly they lost their job. But why? Because they posted something on Facebook.
And it's coming from the top, too.
It's coming from
President
the top.
Biden is
It's
taking
coming
that
from-
same stance
Yes, ma'am.
as Uriki.
Yes, ma'am.
Ureki. And he's having staffers quit now.
Yes,
So people are waking
His
up.
staffers were literally in front of the White House protesting his stance on Israel and Palestine.
Because they're saying the same thing as you guys, is where's the peace? We're
Where
not
is the
taking
peace?
sides. Why are you taking sides?
And when you're going to
Peace.
stop, it's been over 100 days now. We have exceeded the number of almost 24,000 deaths. All hospitals, according to this NPR report today, only 3 left. And the reporter said she had to watch UN monitor who had his both legs severed. She couldn't even offer him a chance to die in peace. All she could do, there was no morphine to give him. She ended up wetting his lips with saline, which is salty water, and rubbing his head, allow him to die with some human touch. This is a volunteer doctor.
Hey, Morgan, what's next for this group and the mayor at the city of Charleston? What are the plans?
Well, I can't give you everything. 'Cause
Right.
Then they
Well,
would
that's
know
okay.
our plan.
That's all right. Yeah.
But
There is a plan.
we are organizing here in about 1 hour.
Yes.
After we leave here, and I assure you it will be peaceful measures, but we don't just have to stop because you said okay,
Absolutely.
no, not today.
We will not stop.
No.
We
So
cannot.
long as moms are dropping and children are
Exactly.
dying, we will not stop.
We cannot afford to stop. There are no one speaking. There is no person speaking on behalf of these kids except us.
Have you been in touch with Joe Solomon since
Yes, of course.
How is he doing? Because he seemed pretty shaken, and
Yeah, he
It
was.
seems that he is being pretty much blackballed by his
I'm sure he would be.
fellow.
I'm sure.
I'm
he
sure
would
he's
be.
gotten
City
his hands
council people.
smacked.
I saw Chad Robinson just giving him down the road. I mean,
But that's how they force things. They
Yes.
make you think that you're going to be ostracized, and then
Yes.
and then they ostracize you.
And
they
they
do.
do ostracize you.
But that we have to be comfortable with that because we have to stand with the truth.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
but you're not speaking for the majority of people, and so to Councilman Solomon's benefit, he came to the people and he did what his constituents asked him to do, which is propose a ceasefire resolution. And so by listening to his constituents, we will ensure that he's taken care of when he goes back up for re-election. That's what you do as a
Interesting.
public servant.
Yeah, that's it. We will support him.
I'm sure you will. Elisa, do you have anything to add here? Last words? Okay, so Elisa, I am more of a local. I look at local politics and what's going on in my community, in my state. She really, really, she does do the local work, but she really is focused on national, and overseas, and that's why I brought her
actually
here.
pretty much the bulk of like what I do. So this has been like my first real big localized effort because when I started political organizing, I started in federal organizing. So now it's a real different take when I get to come back down to this level.
But isn't it interesting that what happens on the national level is actually happening
It
in your
is.
city, in your
Absolutely.
backyard? You just
Yeah,
don't know
that's why
quite the
government-
names of them.
Government starts at the bottom.
That's why
how
we came
else?
to council, because they say municipal governments, it comes from the ground up. So we say, okay, let's come to our council so our federal legislators can do something that matters. And then our council says, not important.
And how else can we let our voices be heard to the top level government official if we don't speak on this level?
And I would encourage everyone that's listening, now's the time.
Yes,
Find
please.
something that is interesting to you that you want to see change and show up at those meetings. Is it inconvenient sometimes? Yes, it is. Does someone else have to cook the dinner? Yes, they do. But it is the world that you're leaving for your children.
It's
not
our
even
democracy that we really have to protect. And I see our democracy is going down the drain. We are not allowed to speak. If we speak, our voices is being quieted. Our Facebook is being monitored. Our actions being monitored. This is not the America that I signed up for.
And here's what I'm seeing. So Joe Solomon was ostracized. You're ostracized. You're ostracized. I'm ostracized. So guess what now? There's a big community of ostracized people.
So
we
stick
stand
together.
Yes. And we find our common goals, our common denominators, put aside differences that don't matter, and we join together and we make this community
Better.
a working, better community.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I agree.
Gosh, I couldn't have said that better myself. I'm ready to conquer the world. Hey, I know you guys have to go and get to your next meeting and plan your strategy. And once again, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate the conversation. Fascinating conversation. I have so many more questions. And
Thank you so much for inviting us. Thank you so much for opening your heart and mind to us. And we do have a story. We do have a real issue we're concerned about. All we're asking you is to stop the killing. We're asking people, we're asking government, we're begging everybody, give these children a chance at living. All over the world.
Yeah.
Not just in Gaza.
Right.
All over the world. We'll speak to any just cause. We're just Martin Luther King Day is Monday,
Yes.
and he fought for justice and peace.
Yes.
So come on now, people.
I think actually it was funny when Ashley and I spoke on the phone. I'm like, people love to quote Martin Luther King and
Right.
and idolize him as a hero. But if you so much as take a tactic out of his book, now you're troublesome.
Absolutely.
Now you're getting your hands smacked, and it's like,
Well-
happy Martin Luther King Day. Don't say anything about oppression.
And leave us in power, and let us protect our friends who are in power.
What would you
'cause
expect him to do had he been alive today? What would you think Dr. King would do today? He would be
would've
marching with
marching.
us.
He would be marching.
Yes,
He
ma'am.
would be
Thank you.
marching. Yes. Hey, good luck.
Thank you.
We're going to stay in touch because I have your number now.
Yeah, you
Yes,
do.
ma'am.
So, Morgan, I'd love for you to share my number with Miss Sue over
Okay.
there. And you guys be safe and get on to your next meeting.
as well.
And we're going to take a break and we're going to come right back.
The Scoop Squad Truth Pod would like to thank our sponsors. Those include Chris Walters at Integrity Insurance, featuring auto, home, life, business, workers' compensation, and pet insurance. Pet insurance, you say? That's health insurance for your dogs or cats that covers special foods, illnesses, surgeries, and medication. They're on 16 Capitol Street in Charleston at 346-9181, or reach them at www.iigwv.com. Also by Jody's Mobile Services, offering steam cleaning, pressure washing, fleet washing, and auto detailing. We come to you. They're at 304-437-3164. And also by Eggplant on Bridge Road. Anything but ordinary. Go to eggplantshop.com. Also by T-Graphics on the west side, 312 Buchanan Street, 345-4816. Go to tgraphics.com for screen printing and embroidery since 1984. Again at 345-4816.
And we're back. The third scoop of the Scoop Squad Truth Pod. I don't even know what episode we're on, but we're rolling into, in March, it'll be 2 years.
That's amazing.
Isn't that crazy?
And just you can look back now that it's been enough time. You can look back and see how, it's frustrating at times, but now the thread has been pulled and the ball is rolling and the snowball's getting bigger and bigger and the people on the top of the hill are,
Yeah.
we're finally able to.
Well, I feel like it takes that much time to piece all this stuff together.
Well, and you have to figure out who the players are. I mean,
Absolutely.
that's what I'm still doing. Like, it is amazing to me, like, just to make that connection of what's happening on a national level is actually happening in your city. And for those of you that are like me that are conspiracists, make that transition, because you can read all day about what's happening on a national level and international level.
Yeah.
But it is happening in your own front yard.
a place where you can actually make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
And
Like,
you have to just put a little bit of time in, put a little dedication in, grab a friend.
Yeah.
And like I said, the more of us that stand up and push back, the easier it becomes, one, the more fulfilling it is. And you make some wonderful friendships.
Yeah.
I mean,
You and
frankly,
me.
yeah, that's how we
We're
got
besties
together.
now.
Yeah. But you'll be amazed to find out. And the things that you think were important, that were divisive to you, don't stand in the way any longer.
Right.
Because there's so many other things that are just bigger.
You figure out what's big, what's more important.
Absolutely.
But you're right. Like, it takes a long time to figure out who the players are and, you know, how city government works, how state government works. Like, we haven't even scratched the surface, but, you know, by being involved, you start talking to people, and I can't tell you the connections that happen. You know,
Oh, yeah.
and the dots that are connected. You and me have had so many, like, oh wow, I didn't even realize that was related,
Yeah.
right?
And being at the store,
Ron's coming back in. He walked Sue and Morgan out.
but being at the store, you know, now people have a face
Yeah,
with me and can ask me questions.
they know that
ask
you
about
are
meetings.
involved now. Yeah,
Here's, you know, what maybe something that they heard, that they, you know, what's going on with this. And so that's been a real, actually a source of joy. And I've met so many awesome people. And again, from all different walks of life. And
yeah,
it's just nice to see people start pulling together. And like I said, this issue isn't about what side of the fence you're on. This is about peace. No one should be killed. I mean, if people knew the amount of wars that the United States not only participated in, but instigated, leaders that we helped remove from their own democratic processes, they would be appalled.
What was your feeling the other night at City Council when all that was going on? Because you would like whisper
I was
in my
proud
ear.
of them. Like,
Yeah.
I was super proud of them. And I'll tell you something else that we didn't talk about. But we stood up. You and I were more in the front because I weaseled through because I was like, I'm coming to the meeting. I'm just going to the meeting. And then the meeting
We
got
weren't going to
shut
go.
down.
We weren't going to go. Remember that?
Yeah, no, we kept
We were
like,
tired. We were like going
blah,
back and
blah.
forth. And then I'm like, I'm going. You're like, okay, I'm going.
Well, when I got there, I had to be in the overflow room. So that was a great experience because everyone was, and again, very calm. I never felt threatened. In my mind, I thought, you know, I hope everything goes status quo. But the one thing that really shocked me that night that we didn't talk about is every council member, but Chelsea Steelhammer and probably Joe Solomon.
Joe Solomon walked out the front.
Walked out the back door. They skulked out like little children. They could not even put
Face
their
their own
face out
citizens.
there, face their own actions. Like, it's like being drunk at a bar and getting up the next day and you're like, oh God, I don't even want to look at all those people.
Right.
Like, oh my God, you did that. Own your
Yeah.
BS.
And Joe walked through the crowd. Of course, they were the ones that voted for the resolution. It was Joe, Joe Solomon, Chelsea Stillhammer, and Mike Farrell. Mike Farrell, I think he might have walked. I think he did go out the back. But you're right. The rest of them went out the back.
Acting deputy chief of police,
Chief Dempsey.
he came out, you know, and he was just such a man of honor. He's such a good presence. He was very calming.
Yeah.
And there was some talk
I think
about
that's
they
why I
couldn't-
didn't feel any kind of.
And the community that showed up, they made a path for the fire department
Yeah.
in case of EMS. We had problems. Like, they were very aware of their surroundings.
Well,
It
these are
wasn't like they were
sophisticated
mobs.
people. They're professionals.
Yeah.
They're, a lot of them are physicians.
Yeah.
You know, they're not a rabble rouser
No.
group.
No,
No, I was, you know, having been like a little on the fence about going that night because it was like, well, just, you know, here it goes again. I was super proud that I felt that the Lord had led me there to be there that night. I was super proud of watching my democracy in action, watching citizens of this community stand up. And sometimes when you stand up, sometimes you feel like you're so alone. And, you
That's
know,
right, 100%.
you know, and I speak at city council meetings, and or not city council, school board meetings. They look at you like you're like they're just dead face. They're just dead inside.
Yeah, it's like, is this even worth it? Like, am I even getting anywhere? And this group is very well organized. They've got big numbers. I just wish.
And they are. I mean, I saw a lot of my own doctors and
Yeah.
my orthodontist. What, you know, it's,
In that group.
And
people
people
you
think
know.
that everybody from the Middle East is Muslim, but you know, like she said, many of them are not only Jewish but also Orthodox Christian, Eastern
Right.
Orthodox, Syrian Orthodox.
Right.
There were originally, you know, at 300 years after Christ, when the church was getting organized, there were 5 bishoprics, what they call bishoprics, or 5 bishop areas. Rome, which we know as where the Pope resides.
Right.
Then there was also Alexandria, Egypt. There was in Turkey.
Yeah.
Then there was Antioch, Syria, and Jerusalem. So
that's what's fascinating
Constantinople
about
in Turkey.
That's what's fascinating about. I feel like this. These religions and these people with this history, that's where time started. Right. You know, we are such a young country. We have no concept or context really for
there were
this.
three faiths that came out of the Abrahamic era that claimed that area.
Right.
So, you have a mixture of Christians, Jews, and Muslims.
Yeah.
And they all, at some point, look at Father Abraham
as the
founder of the three
of those
faiths.
religions. Yeah.
Right. So it's not, if you even want to just look at it as, well, we're not Jewish and we're not Muslim, so it shouldn't affect us. Well, yes, it does. Unfortunately,
we're so short-sighted over here.
The Christian population in the Middle East is shrinking because of the things that are happening now. But those have been going on for quite some time. Yeah. And the Israeli government, if you talk to very many people of Orthodox faith, they will tell you that the Israeli government has not been friendly to them and has also bulldozed their neighborhoods, the Christian neighborhoods and businesses as well. So I've got several books on the subject. If anybody wants to have a referral.
And speaking of history, she talked about 75 years this has been going on. That area, people take a few moments and look up the Balfour Agreement. And you can see how the Balfour Agreement, and you can see how the Jewish community was established over there, modern day.
In 1948.
Modern day,
yes,
right.
Modern day. And you can also look at maps over time. Just look at maps and look at the shrinkage of the Palestinian people and their territory. This has been a purposeful progression over time.
Right.
You can look at the map and you can see now it's two tiny little strips of land, and it started out almost that, at least a majority of that area.
Well, if you look at the era of about 1917, 1918, at the end of World War I, the Ottoman Empire, which is basically the Turkish Empire, had control over most of Turkey and the Middle East. At one point in the Middle Ages, they'd almost gotten they did get as far as Vienna, Austria, and almost took over all of Europe. But the Ottoman Empire was defeated by mostly the British, but by the Allied forces in World War I. So that's how mostly the British had gotten a foothold in the Middle East area, gotten that under control because they defeated the Ottoman Empire, which basically dissolved into the different countries that we have now. But Britain designed this breakdown of countries: Iraq, Iran, and Saudi Arabia. Most of those were basically not the original borders. That's caused a lot of the tensions that's happened. And so it spent a lot of time under the British Empire until after World War II. When the Holocaust happened and a lot of the Jewish community were leaving Europe, they had to, the idea by the United Nations was to put them in the area of Israel, which was fairly controversial because there was already people there, but you had the sensibilities on the Allied side where we want to protect the Jewish people and keep this from happening again. We're going to put them here, which was a good place to put them, in the original Jewish home place, but there were already people there, so
the Palestinian people?
The Palestinian people were already there, as well as some Jewish people.
Elisa, you're shaking your head.
And some Christian people.
That agreement also was between British royalty and the Rothschilds. They're involved in this.
Right.
This is a planned out thing of where they put them. And
Rothschilds, for those of you who don't know, were an ancient family of very powerful in the business world, but also controlled governments dating back to the Middle Ages.
And now banking.
Whew.
Well, they were involved in banking through most of the Middle Ages and funded the wars and the governments of not only Britain, France, the Holy Roman Empire.
And I would
parts of
submit
Italy.
they funded the wars on both sides,
Wow.
not just the Allies.
Yes.
This has been quite the history lesson, y'all.
Well,
I
you
need
kind
to-
of got into my nerd area because
Well,
that's
I
one area I've
love
always
it.
specialized.
I think you have to look at
You have to
history though,
educate
to
yourself.
understand what is
100%.
happening today.
Yeah, it didn't happen in a vacuum.
And it didn't necessarily happen how you were taught in school.
No, and it's very complicated. You know, the Jewish have people of the Jewish faith have a birthright there to some extent, but so did many of these other people, and there's got to be a different solution.
And they were at odds. I mean, once again, they were manipulated out of their homeland and then manipulated into another place. They didn't even have a choice to decide where they wanted to live.
Yeah.
I know we didn't get a chance to talk much about VOAD.
We did not.
But you did go to the...
I went to the Senate Judiciary hearing, the Joint Legislative Commission on flooding.
and if you follow our Facebook page, I'm going to encourage you to go to the Facebook page
Yeah.
and follow our coverage of that. Most of what we would discuss here basically has been discussed on our Facebook postings about
Well, and
this
Senator Tarr
from Sunday.
actually did refer to us as he was questioning Executive Director Ganaway. Asked her if she had seen the videos that were posted by the Scoop Squad, and she answered no. And he said, "Well, you might want to go back and watch those."
I wonder if that's because you're the only news source that would post those kind of videos.
That's it. Kenny Bass did a story on VOAD, a very incriminating story. Sometimes I think that's where it stops.
Right.
You
You get
and that's
one.
where
Hands are
You
tied.
get one big blast of a story,
And
from
then
a
everybody
TV
forgets
station.
about it.
Yeah, because there's no follow up on
Right.
it, and they don't have time to do follow up on it.
and that's where we come in.
Right. We have a whole hour to talk about any subject we want to.
And we can post these. We can post this evidence that Kenny's legal team is not allowing
Right.
him to post.
If you follow us on Facebook, we ask that you share everything and go to those little three dots when you come to our Facebook page. Go to those little three dots, click on it, and share us with all your friends.
Yeah.
Because that's how we're going to help spread the word.
Yeah, because I think 2024, man, it has started out strong with a bang.
You can find us on Twitter also. We are working on our website, trying to finalize that. I think the holdup now is the lady is putting together the merchandising part where we can sell
where we
T-shirts.
can sell our stuff, which we are going to sell.
We'll have T-shirts.
We're going to sell the swag.
That's right.
But yeah, I think that this is going to be the year. I just feel like we have a little system going, and I
Yeah.
feel like
We have a niche, and people walk.
Yeah.
I mean, people of all walks of life. Not only, state senators and other
Yeah.
folks recently, like Eric Nelson mentioned that he listens on a
Yeah.
regular basis, but many other politicians as well. But, I went to get my body work done on my car, and,
Yeah.
and the guy said, "Wait a minute. I was just listening to you, and now I'm hearing your voice again in
That's
person." I
so
said, "Well,
cool.
that's because I'm on the podcast."
yeah, that's
I
so
think
cool.
people are fed up and they're just
Yeah.
latching
They're-
on to
they're
anything.
finding us.
Well, and I think they're finding that we, the Scoop Squad, we're probably the final play. We're the last. Like, we're where you can get results,
when you're giving
I
them
mean,
a voice.
and we're giving them a voice.
Right.
And
And the powerful are listening.
Yeah.
There you have
otherwise,
many,
VOAD would not be officially under investigation
wouldn't
by
have found
3
out.
investigative arms of the legislature. That's a big deal.
yeah. Those are federal funds, state funds
Yes.
that VOAD is receiving to help relieve
Millions
flood
millions
issues.
people of dollars. And Senator Tarr asked the question that we have been asking for a long time: how in the world was Jenny Ganaway reinstated after 2 weeks suspension? How is she still the executive director if the board saw just half of what I've seen?
even after the testimony on Sunday, after
Yeah.
admitting
How
that
does
she's
she get to
hired
go back
relatives,
to her office?
hired relatives, used funds,
How does she get to go back to her office?
Makes you wonder about the board. I mean, it just makes you ask questions.
Well, Senator
Like,
Tarr
does it
said
make
he's going to
sense?
have questions for the board.
Mhm.
So it's not
And they're
over.
accountable.
No.
It's not over,
Right.
but this is accountability.
We've,
It was a great moment. Anyway, like we said, 2024 is starting off strong. I made an inquiry. I called Jackson County Sheriff's Office. I do want that police report on that baby girl that is.
Yeah, look at
in
our
Morgantown.
Facebook page. You can see
There's a
more
lot
details.
of yes, and I've you guys have stories out there. No story is unimportant. So bring us your stories.
Right. And many of you do. We appreciate it. When there's things we can act on, we certainly will.
Yeah.
Sometimes we need more proof, but if you give us a place to start, we can get that.
100%.
But reach out to us, and you reach out to us in Facebook Messenger, or that's a great way to reach us, or email. scoopsquadwv@gmail.com is a great place to reach out to us if you want to go into a long form message. But certainly on our Facebook page, you can message
and my
us.
cell phone number's out there. I get anonymous texts all the time.
Right.
So keep it coming. I love it.
Right.
All right. That's going to do it for this episode of the Scoop Squad Truth Pod. And
we certainly want to thank our sponsors.
Yes, please. Would you do that?
Yeah.
Elisa, hey, thank you.
Well,
thank you for
while Elisa's here, she has Eggplant on Bridge Road. This is hard to read with bifocals, but she's anything, and they are anything but ordinary. That's where I get my Jack Black men's, I would say,
Products.
bathing materials, bathing, hair, grooming
products.
I'm running out of shave cream, so I hope you have some in stock.
I just ordered it today.
Okay,
She
good.
knows you
Well, I'll
like
be
it.
out in about a week or two. I'll be out of it in about a week or two, so I'll stop in. Also by T Graphics on the west side, and we're working with them to do our T-shirts that you can buy, so you can proudly say you support the Scoop Squad. tgraphics.com, screen printing, embroidery since 1984. Also, Jody's Mobile Cleaning Services. Certainly look him up on Facebook. He
Running for Lincoln County
and
Commission.
he's running for Lincoln County Commission. But Jody's is a great place for not only vehicle cleaning, commercial vehicle and fleet cleaning, but commercial building cleaning, pressure washing. Also by Integrity Insurance, Chris Walters there. They have specialized insurance for your pets, but for auto, home, life, business, and workers' compensation at 16 Capitol Street, Charleston, 346-9181. Also by Piggly Wiggly.
Yes.
Which we could do several
Love
live
the big
shows
pig.
from there since we're there so often.
Hey, can we give a shout out to JB Akers?
JB Akers, our friend.
Woot. Congratulations also.
Named to the House of Delegates.
Named to the House of Delegates. He is now, has taken over the seat that Maura Capito left vacant to continue.
So
his
I guess
run
that
for
means
governor.
there's less Capito since more Capito has left.
Oh, gosh. That's okay. Now I get it.
And JB has
JB
taken,
says it's going to make him a more interesting podcast contributor now that he's got a seat in the
we
House,
definitely want
so.
him to come
I'm
back
excited
and
for
tell
him,
us.
but I'm excited for us.
I'm
that means
excited
we
for
have
us.
somebody on the inside, So
I love it.
that helps a lot. I think I've covered everybody.
I think you have.
I hope.
Yeah.
But anybody that would like to be a sponsor, there's certainly different levels of sponsorship available. You can reach out to me at scoopsquadwv@gmail.com. Again, that's scoopsquadwv@gmail.com. I'll show you how you can be a sponsor, not only on the podcast, but on our social media as well. And people get results by advertising with us.
That's right. And I am full.
I have 40 years
was-
of experience. I'll find a way to make it work for you.
That was three scoops. Did you get it? I just said I was full.
You're full.
Yeah.
Three scoops?
You two tonight. Stop it right now.
We're just on fire. aren't
Right.
we,
Well,
Ron?
we gave you the inside scoop.
All right. We are going to talk to you guys. Next week's the city council meeting.
We're wrapping it up.
So we're
Cannot wait.
We're gonna be there with
Definitely,
bells on. All right. We
Thank
will
you.
guys give you guys a scoop next week. And thanks for joining us. Bye.
Bye. If you would like to tie your business with this popular podcast, you can contact me, Ron Hughes, to advertise at ron.hughes, ron.hughes, at wvradio.com, or you could call me at 304-342-8131. The Scoop Squad Truth Pod would like to thank our sponsors. Those include Chris Walters at Integrity Insurance, featuring auto, home, life, business, workers' compensation, and pet insurance. Pet insurance, you say? That's health insurance for your dogs or cats that covers special foods, illnesses, surgeries, and medication. They're on 16 Capitol Street in Charleston at 346-9181, or reach them at www.iigwv.com. Also by Jody's Mobile Services, offering steam cleaning, pressure washing, fleet washing, and auto detailing. We come to you. They're at 304-437-3164. And also by Eggplant on Bridge Road. Anything but ordinary. go to eggplantshop.com. Also by T Graphics on the west side, 312 Buchanan Street, 345-4816. Go to tgraphics.com for screen printing and embroidery since 1984. Again at 345-4816. Rebroadcast, retransmission, or transcription is not permissible without the expressed approval of Scoop Squad Truth Pod. Copyright 2024.